What's up, everybody? Spring has finally sprung in the valley bottom. There's still a bunch of snow in the mountains, but sunshine, warmer weather is here down low, and that means getting the bike out. So I'm gonna do some bike modifications today. So I'm just in my van right now, going to pick up my bike from a very messy garage, and I'm by myself, so we'll see how that goes. The van is not empty. There's stuff in here and benches in the way, so I don't even know if it's gonna fit, but we'll give it one heck of a shot, and then we'll take it up to the shop and start working on it. Okay, so this is the van that we used for filming down in Mexico. I installed a winch with this ramp for my wheelchair to get in, straps, remote, so it just pulls me up. I've got that ramp if the tires don't quite line up with this, but I really don't know what I'm gonna do with the bike once I get it in there, because there's not a lot of room. Oh, okay. Lots of crap, but it's accessible. So just need to move a couple things, not bad. Christmas tree. This is the bow head. This is the bike that I'm working on. So we'll pull it out, and yeah, it's bigger than you'd think, but try and make it work. All right, that actually wasn't as bad as I expected. It's in there, and now we're on the way to the shop to unload it, which is hopefully just as smooth, and start working on it. All right, I got the bike in the shop, and now I can explain. When I go for a bike ride, especially from point A to point B, like out to a restaurant for a drink, even coming up here to the shop, I have to get into the bike, onto the bike, and then leave my wheelchair wherever I got on, which isn't ideal for when I get to my destination. So my plan is to turn my wheelchair into a quasi-trailer. So I don't quite have a plan yet, but figure out a way that I can attach my wheelchair to the back of the bike so that I can get on the bike, attach the wheelchair to the back, pedal to my destination, and be able to get back into my chair and do whatever I need to do. Because I need to ride the bike more, because I'm getting fat. All right, I can't move around very good now because I'm in a wheel-less chair, but this is the idea. I'm gonna put a little heim joint on the back there with a solid bar that clamps to the foot plate of the wheelchair, goes up and then pins to the heim joint so it can swivel and go up and down. It'll actually have to be pretty long to be able to turn tight corners and clear the wheels, but that's what we'll figure out now. Also, the chair will be tipped back a bit so that the bar can go from the foot plate to that. And then I can put my backpack or whatever in there and be able to pull it. So this is the little 1/4-inch heim joint I'm thinking. I'll weld it below the axle there. Well, I'll actually weld a little sleeve that this goes into so it can rotate for going through twists. And then up and down will be the ball rotating in there. And then the arm will come out from the chair with a little bolt through it. Maybe put a pin, maybe not. We'll see. All right, so I went digging around the scrap pile. Originally I was gonna extend the threaded portion of the heim and then put it through a piece of tube and then put a nut on the back so that would turn, but there was nothing with a good enough fit. I do have this tube that fits inside this tube. It is stainless, but that's okay. Now I'm going to weld the heim to this smaller piece, and then it fits perfectly inside this bigger piece. So the bigger piece will get welded to the frame of the bike. And since I need this to stick out the back fairly long, this will offer a lot more support, and I think it'll just last longer. So we'll try that, and if it doesn't work, then we'll come up with something else. So I think first, before I weld the little heim joint onto the frame of the bike, I'm going to make the tongue portion, I guess you'd call it, so that we know what angle to weld the heim onto the frame, because it's going to be at a bit of an angle. So I'm using this 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch square tube, 0.65 wall, 16th inch. So we'll get that cut, and then I'll make the mechanism that's going to clamp onto the footplate of the chair, which I haven't totally come up with yet, but it's going to be kind of 2 pieces here with a bolt and another piece of this that goes like that, clamps down. So yeah, you'll see. There is our main frame, our tongue, if you will. So then 2 little tabs there, so I'm going to need another piece of this to go over top, clamp my foot plate. So I'll measure that. Makes it a little tricky when I'm in the chair, but we'll get it done. So foot plate is 6 inches, so we'll allow a little bit out the back, a little bit out the front, go with 8 inches. Nice working with nice light metal every once in a while. Not a very square cut, but I don't care. It would be preferable to use aluminum on this just so it's lighter, but I haven't had the time / taken the time to learn how to weld aluminum. I've got the spool gun for the MIG, but I don't have the gas, and now is not the time. So we're going with steel. I can remake it in aluminum at one point if I want to. The smallest flat bar I could find is this 1 inch by 8 overkill, but it'll do. So I'm gonna get this cut, drilled, and welded onto here, and that's gonna be my hinge. Drill pieces, filings, whatever they are called, are the worst for my wheelchair tires, because they're little spirals. They go in, they work their way in. Sometimes it takes days, and I get flat tires out of the blue. So I'm pretty careful around this, and we use the magnetic sweeper a lot, but still get many flats. All right, that's 2. Clean them up a little bit, and then we'll roll them together. So I'll put a bolt through there to hold it while I weld so that they don't get all cattywampus, and should be good. There is our pivot. So that'll be a placeholder, and this is the piece that's being welded onto, just like so. That'll work. Alright, just got it tacked on for now. That's gonna clamp the chair on. So I'll tack this on a little bit better, try it out, and then I'll finish weld it, assuming it's good. Alright, that is on there. Okay, cleaned up, made an ugly weld look good, and she's good to go. All right, let's try it out. That is temporary with a zip tie, but the angle of this tongue here is the angle that I need to weld the heim joint on the frame of the chair, pointed down so that there's no binding. So I'll grab an angle finder, which I should have grabbed before. Okay, so I got the bike flipped upside down. So instead of being 14 degrees down, it's gonna be 14 degrees up, but that's 14 degrees difference from this main frame, which was level when it's sitting upright, but now it's not. So I'll have to zero my angle finder and find 14 degrees off of that, not off of the floor, or else it'll be very steep. So that makes it a little trickier. So I'll just have to grind the paint off there, and then the idea is this larger diameter tube is gonna weld on there. It'll be shorter, a couple inches, and then this smaller diameter will be attached to the heim joint, go inside, and that's what's gonna create swivel that way. There's probably enough side-to-side movement in this heim joint, but I don't know. Going off of some curbs, sidewalks is pretty steep, and it'd be a bummer for it to bind up, so we'll do this because it's not that much more work. Couple holes, don't love it, but that's okay. Now we'll cut off the excess and hopefully it works. All right, got the heim welded in the little piece that's going inside the sleeve. Definitely melted the rubber plastic bushing in there, but that's okay. It's not precision and it still does its job. So I'm just gonna drill a little hole in the back of this for a cotter pin so that it doesn't slide out and it can still rotate. There is a little bit of friction on it, which is exactly how much I want so that the chair doesn't flip easily, but it can turn if it needs to. So almost done. So hole is drilled, cotter pin can go through, keep this from sliding out, and bike portion of the hitch should be done. Done. I'll get the bike flipped back over, and then the last thing will be to put a bolt in the end of the tongue portion for the chair, and that bolt will go down into the hole of the heim joint, and that's what's gonna kind of be my hitch. That is what it looks like. So it's fairly accessible. I'm hoping I can sit here and grab the tongue of the piece attached to the chair and easily slide it into there, but that is yet to be determined. So now I'm just going to put a bolt, I think, down there, and that is what is going to hook into there. And then I just need to do a bolt with a little wing nut or something here. Not sold on the idea. I want to make it as easy as possible for this end. Then it's done. For the hitch, I've decided just to weld this bolt on there, and that'll go through the heim joint and probably be long enough to not need a pin, but I can just do something there, or a nut or something. Got the tire fixed, so we're gonna take this outside. Just gonna use the zip tie for now, and we'll test it out, see if it even works. Okay, I got it pulled outside. This is the first time trying it. I'm gonna do it as if I was biking, say, up here to the shop from my house. So I'll have my backpack, throw it on the chair, get this thing strapped on, and just see how easy it is / hard it is, and if it's gonna work. Now, how is it to get the chair around the back? And very easy to put in there. So far so good. Hi, puppy. One thing I notice is with my bag in the chair, it wants to tip back, so I am gonna need something on the bottom of the pin so it doesn't pop out, but we'll give it a test drive. Well, I would say it's a success. A couple little things to tweak, but other than that, it works good. And this way I can ride up to the shop and have my wheelchair with me. So, awesome. Good morning, it's the next day. I threw a coat of paint on and let it dry overnight. Also, I added a little bolt and got this little guy in the random drawer that will work great for screwing that down. So it's complete.